Welcome to another episode of Day One Radio right here on Live Hip Hop Daily. Appreciate y'all listening in through our partners at CLNS Media and watching us on YouTube and Live Hip Hop Daily app and everywhere else you watch. As you can see, my brother Maurice is not here this week, but we're going to keep it rocking. It's always good to have somebody from the West in the building. So we got, to me, one of my favorite DJs, even though I've only seen him spin 2-3 times, but every time he kills it. DJ R-Tistic, what's good, man?
How you doing, though? Thank you for having me here, though.
Yeah, for sure,
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Straight off the plane. That's dedication, man.
Straight
man
from
is a professional.
Yeah. I had to make it here.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. So,
all good.
What brings you to town?
So, I went to FAMU. So, we have a alumni weekend. The main event is called Be Out Day. So, that's going on tomorrow. So, I'm rocking with Wally Sparks tonight at Flavor at the basement.
Right.
Then Be Out Day is like a big picnic, kind of a day party-ish picnic atmosphere, kind of an all-ages thing we got tomorrow at Central Park.
Okay.
Then I have like a daytime, late day party called Lush after that, open bar type thing. Then
Oh, that's dope.
after that, I'm going to just, I don't know, stay up to the plane because I got to leave at 6 a.m. So right back to it on Sunday in L.A.
You got a full weekend, man.
Yeah.
Are you one of the elitist rattlers? You know, FAMU, cat. Shout out to Jay Carter and all the other homies from FAMU. Y'all are really very much like heavy on the FAMU.
I feel like it's probably crazier out here in Atlanta because we so deep. Like in LA, we don't have as much of a presence, but
Gotcha.
like, we still rep it the hardest though. Like my whole family went there, so
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
I probably have like 40 some relatives who went there overall.
Wow.
Like literally my whole family on my mom's side went there.
Now, how did that happen? Being that you from LA.
They all from Florida, so basically
Okay,
like
gotcha.
my dad's from Memphis, my mom from Florida, but her whole family grew up like an hour from Tallahassee, Florida. So
Okay.
she had like her dad had 12 other siblings, so I think 11 of the 13 went to FAMU.
Wow.
Basically, each of their kids went there, and then the grandkids went there. So it's that type of
That's
thing.
hard.
And
That's,
then my
that's super dope.
mom and dad met in Tallahassee, and then they moved to LA like in the 70s. So
Yeah,
that's how I got to LA basically. I was born and raised there, but I was back in Tallahassee every single summer, going to homecomings as a kid and all that.
So you grew up in it.
Yeah,
For sure.
basically,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what's up,
Yeah,
man.
it was
That's
so.
good to see, man. I feel like you don't really see that a lot with black cats that's like are in their 30s and 40s at all. Like you really see it more so, you know, older folks or
That's
whatnot.
true,
Like,
true.
but yeah, I know one of the homies, like his whole family went to Langston in Oklahoma or whatnot. Yeah, so like, that's really dope. I was the first person in my family to go to a HBCU in my immediate family.
Oh, for real?
For
Okay.
sure, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My
Where'd you
mom, I went to Clark Atlanta
Went to
University.
Clark, too? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Right
my
here.
mom is a UCLA grad. She a Bruin.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, grew up in Jordan Down, so you know. all
Okay,
that, yeah.
okay.
So
makes
the
sense.
first time, speaking of the West Side, the first time that I ever heard your name was that West Side Timeline mix.
Oh, wow.
Back
yeah.
in, what was that?
2013.
Yeah, that was,
6
and I was
years
like,
ago.
yo, this took the first thing I was like, this is dope, but this took a lot of work.
I initially first started like 2009, and I worked on it for a couple months and just let it sit there and just was like, it was just overwhelming. It was too much work because I would find all these songs. I was doing all this research. Then the more songs I would find, the more I would find that I didn't have. I put one Mixed Master Spades song on, and I'm doing an 80s party, and somebody's like, you got Genius's Back? I'm like, what's that? You don't know what that is? I'm like, no. So
He was like,
I'm having
dude,
to research every single.
I'm not
era.
50 years old, so
Yeah,
I need you
yeah.
to put me on.
Yeah,
you know
so
what
I had to
mean?
talk to older DJs.
Yeah.
I had to go through old Billboard charts, talk to older rappers themselves, go on YouTube, Black Holes, and everything just to figure out like all the main songs. And even with 500 songs, it's still like, even a week later, I was like, it's 10 songs I should have had instead of these songs. But it's still like, it's never gonna be perfect when you deal with something that's that overwhelming. But
What of all the people, like I'm surprised no one had ever done it before. What sparked you wanting to do that?
So the whole concept came from his name was DJ Jaguar Skills. I think he's from the East Coast, either from the East Coast or maybe Europe. But he had a similar mix. So his was called the Odyssey. His was like 1979 to 2006, and he probably dropped his like 08. So he had his was like 800 songs. His moved even quicker than mine. But me being LA, of course, when I'm hearing it, I'm like, okay, he got Quick Tonight, but that's it. He don't have Sugar Free.
Right. Yeah.
He got NWA, but he don't have this Second to None song. He don't,
Right.
you know, he has Too Short, but he don't have Mac Dre, you know, Too Hard for the Radio. So it's like, just me being me, I'm like, I'm gonna make a West Coast version of it, just talking.
Yeah.
And my homegirl Ashton was like, yeah, do it. And I'm like, all right. And after those 3 months, I'm like, all right, this is too much work. So I kind of quit. And then I think like every couple months she would be like, you better do it before somebody else does it, because that's what always happens.
That's true.
So 2013, I got booked for the Paid Dues concert that was out in out in San Bernardino. So that had like Nipsey Hussle, Kendrick, everybody on that concert. So I was like, just to build up the hype of that, just to like, what was it? Basically, I was like, after this happens, I have to have something to follow it up just to keep my name out there. So once I did that concert, people were like, all right, who was artistic, this and that. I'm like, let me drop it right now just to have something going. So I spent like 3 months, probably, I'm going to estimate 200-300 hours maybe on it. Maybe even more. It was the type thing I have to work every day, 2-3 hours, just working on that for like weeks and weeks. Yeah, it was just like nonstop. Yeah,
because I was like, you covered a lot. And like I'm from the Bay.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends, obviously, you know, from LA or whatnot, we always go back and forth over music. And I'll be like, you did well. Like you, especially with a cat that's not from the Bay, you touched a lot of stuff.
That was one of my main things, because I know how the Bay is. The Bay, they'll criticize you right away. Like, how you didn't put this? You didn't put Andre Nicotino on it. You didn't put this and that. So it was like, I was cross-referencing with Bay DJs, with the Sickness.net was popular back in the day. I would be on there just like asking, what was the best songs in this year? What was the songs that weren't on the radio that y'all knew? What was the club songs? So I was like, let me make sure I have the Bay covered, because LA, aside from the 80s, like I can get all the 90s and up LA stuff because I was there. But it was like, let me make sure I touch all the bases for the Bay especially. So that was one of the bigger challenges to it. But I had to just focus and just make it happen.
For sure. Yeah. And that's not like the only, like you've done decade mixes, you've done all of that stuff. So like that's not something you really see in this day and age of DJs anymore. What makes you want to do this stuff that you know is going to be intricate and take a long time to put together and a lot of research?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's just like, because to me it's fun. It's like it's work, but it's still kind of fun. Like it's basically where doing the research is exhausting as it is. It's like I'm still finding songs that I'm like, okay, I didn't know about this song, but it'll work if I play it here. Then certain songs, it's like a lot of songs end up coming back, because, you know, a lot of songs after 12, 15 years, they come back because of nostalgia. So it's like, it just kind of helps my overall database just to collect this music anyway, but it just kind of sets me apart. It's not even something that I thought about in depth. Like after I did the timeline, I think just doing that, I realized that like 1995 had a lot of just hits, period. So I made that mix called 95 for 95. That was just like a one-off thing I did, like Memorial Day of 2013, and it was just 95 songs, R&B, hip hop from every region, the South, East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, and everything else. And then after a couple months, I was like, well, let me do 96. A couple more months, let me do 93, 94. So I just kept on doing it year by year. So the hardest ones initially, I was thinking if I do the early 90s, it's gonna be tough, because I didn't start listening to radio till 93.
Gotcha.
I was like 90 to 92 is gonna be rough. But then I went on OK Player, Twitter, and just started asking DJs and everybody else, like, what songs would y'all know that I might not know from that era? So they started giving me songs like the Ghetto Heaven type songs, and like the Jane Child type songs that nobody my age even knows. So I was like, I'm finding these songs. These songs actually kind of go. So
it's dope that you say that, because a lot of times DJs don't want to admit that they may not know of something and ask other DJs what's what. So it's dope that you were like, nah, I want to get this right.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, because it's like drop all the pride, because it's like I'd rather be clueless and then find out versus just never knowing about it. Because a lot of DJs are just arrogant about not knowing something. Like, I don't know, that's old school. I'm from LA. I don't know that New York. I'm from Atlanta. I don't care about that LA music. Like a lot of folks have that bias just based off generation and region. But I'm like, let me erase all that and just absorb everything. And I used to be a producer too, so that kind of helps it too, because with that, I'm always about finding stuff that the average person might not even remember or know.
Gotcha.
So
I know that you came up playing instruments. I just found out, like you said, you used to be a producer. I know you used to rap. What have you not touched in hip hop?
I mean, that's basically I was rapping. Before that, I was playing drums as a kid because my dad's a drummer. I was playing piano, taking lessons. I'm not gonna count the recorder in 4th grade, but everybody played that.
Right.
I played the timpani in like high school band, like for like 1 year. But then I was producing. Then I I was rapping from like 94 to like 2001. And then I didn't really start DJing until like really 06, 07. I had turntables in 2001 just so I could scratch on my own production. But I wasn't really focused on being a DJ until like 07. So basically covered those. Like I had my own fake label in middle school. Like I saw Master P had one. Of course,
what was the name of the label? What
was the actual name of it? What I actually called it, because I used to go by RMC as a rapper.
Yeah.
I used to go by Lil Commander. I don't even know what that meant. Probably a play on No Limit Soldiers, but I forget what the label was called. I put it on one of my old like single CDs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up when I get home. Actually, yeah.
That's funny.
It was way back. It was 20-some years ago.
Do you think that you're gonna like? It feels like the natural progression now is for DJs to produce. It's been that way for a while.
It's been that way forever, even going back to the 80s. But
do you think you're gonna get back to it?
Everybody always asks me that, and I feel like I did it, and it's like I kind of lost the touch at it because when I was in college, I didn't have any equipment to produce on for like 4 or 5 years, and then I got back to it. The sound had changed so much. It went from me having, it used to be all hardware back then. It was Cubase and Reason sequencers, and then you had to have a Phantom. You had to have the Tritons and all those. And by the time it's 07, 08, it's like we're not on that no more. It's all plugins. You gotta have plugins.
Yeah.
Logic came in around that time, so it was almost like it was difficult for me to even hop in mentally just to get with the new sound and the new style. So I tried it again in 2013, and it just wasn't working the same way. So at this point, I feel like I might become like a co-producer. I'm probably best with that. Yeah. If I have somebody who's already a producer, I can give them ideas. I can feed them, whether it's samples or just I can hear a song and say, all right, if you want it to be a club hit, you got to take this out. Like add hi-hats here or
kinda
switch
like
up the beat
executive here. Producer situation.
Yeah, I'm more of an executive producer at this point. So I can see it being that way. A&R to me, I've thought about that, but A&R in this generation doesn't really have the same impact as it did 20, 30 years ago.
I mean, it's everything is so accelerated.
Yeah, it is.
Like you really don't have time to like build up an artist.
You can't develop anymore, and it's all about he has a hit. All right, pick him up, push it. All right, he's burnt out. Get somebody else. So it's like
which sucks.
Yeah, it's trash. So it's like with me, I think A&R. I probably wouldn't be a good modern A&R because I'm more so focused on the talent and the skill versus just. It's weird to even like hear somebody and be able to say he's not a good rapper, but he can make hits. Versus he's a great rapper or she's a great singer, but can she actually be good on a song? Because even like
it's a lot of that though.
If you had put Jennifer Hudson and Rihanna in the same room with me, 2006, I would have been like, of course Jennifer Hudson. I'm like, this Rihanna chick, okay, she's pretty, but this Hudson chick can actually sing. But you look at it now and it makes sense. It's like you can't put Jay Hudson on every song. You can't put her on Work. You can't put her on Needed Me. It's like a lot of times singers, it's not about how good they sing, but about their actual voice and about the appeal and everything else behind it. So the same with rappers. It's like, even if you look at somebody like a Chingy from 2003, like he wasn't a great rapper, but his voice was just catchy enough. His flow worked for that time versus everybody else. Like we love Jadakiss, he could rap, but he couldn't make those commercial hits.
What's funny is it's with rappers. Like there are several rappers who make hits that really dial it back because you've seen them coming up and you know they can actually rap. With singers, that really don't happen. Like singers don't hold back. If you can sing, you finna sing.
You let it go. Yeah. Like Beyonce is weird. She holds it back more now. Like this whole trap Beyonce era, she's holding it back more. But she can still sing when she needs to though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but that is true. Like a lot of rappers, you can tell like it's certain ones. So we just see as club rappers. But if you hear them actually spit. Like Problem's a good example for LA.
Oh, Problem can really
Problem
rap.
can spit, but it's like, of course, because he realized 2011, 2012, LA was just on that whole ratchet tip. He had to switch it up, and it worked. It worked for that moment. But he even told me, he was like, look, like that wasn't like he was like that was me in that moment. But if I'm not actually on Molly, I can't rap about Molly and party in that way.
I was gonna say the Molly world.
Part 2,
Mollywood. It was a gift and a curse.
It was in a way,
It really like super put him on, but at the same time it pigeonholed him.
Yeah, because everybody wanted that. So all the fans he got from that, especially the typical LA ratchet crowd, they wanted more of that. And he's like, all right, I can rap too.
And then everybody came in and did that's Problem impersonation and got on.
That's true too. Yeah, I mean, because technically he really had one of the first like kind of big local club songs in LA back in 08 with I'm So Up. Mm-hmm. That song, like, I remember I was mad I heard that literally the day I left Florida. It was the first time I heard that in 08. If I heard it 5 months earlier, I would have made it big out there because it was like, it would have worked anywhere you played it at.
For sure.
It was that type of song.
I was working at Double XL when that came out.
Oh, for real?
We put them in a couple things.
Oh, wow.
For sure, yeah. But
so.
it was that and the joint he had with the girl that was the follow up to that song. I can't remember the name of the song.
Which one was after
that? Was because I know Power played that a lot too. That was a big song.
Which one was it? I can't think offhand. I know you had T.O. that came after Rack City. But
before
that,
was
before that.
Before that.
So
Yeah, that was
0809, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the song, but he
yeah.
had some joints. I mean, his joint, that Ooh shit on 40's album is crazy.
Yeah.
Like
he still got some tracks.
Yeah, Problem is a beast.
Yeah, easy.
Taking it back a little bit, man, what was it like for you growing up in LA, especially since your parents, like my family has been in LA and Oakland for 70-something years, almost 80 years.
Wow.
So for you, your parents being like first generation coming to LA, what was it like for you growing up in the city?
Because basically it's where it worked for both of them because like my dad's siblings got there in like the 60s or 50s, and then my mom's uncles got there in like the 40s and 50s. So they both had roots that were already there. So when they came in the 70s, they already had people there. So it's where when they first got to LA, they were in the hood. They were living in like off of Menlo, right by USC.
Gotcha.
Back in the mid-late 70s. Then the first house that we lived in was in Inglewood. That was like early mid-80s up to like 88. So it was like basically coming up in LA back in the 80s, 90s. Like I grew up in Gardena. So
gotcha.
Gardena is one of those cities that's like, I don't know what you call it. It's like a nice hood city, or it's either a hood nice city.
Right.
It's like, because the houses look pretty suburban, but then you go to that whatever liquor store you go to, whatever apartment complex is right there, Section 8. You gotta know. It's still the hood. It's still gang territory. So it's like, I had that kind of weird balance because like my mom's family, a lot of them lived like Hancock Park, Ladera Heights, Bowen. Then my dad's family was Inglewood, South Central, a little bit in Compton. So it was like, I had a good balance of both sides. Everybody got along. It wasn't like, oh, they bougie because they in Hancock. They weren't hood because they were in Compton. Everybody was still the same. Like, it was all the same thing. So as far as LA goes, outside of family life, it was just a typical LA life. Like, I was kind of like sheltered away from gangs and stuff until like high school. Because by the time you're in high school and you're driving and you're at the park by yourself, it's like you just learn more stuff. So a lot of stuff I learned more so from the rap than actually in person. So I heard a lot of stuff that Quick and them would talk about, that Snoop and them would say. Just a lot of little stuff that makes all the sense now. But like, if you're not from LA, you hear Snoop and them just say stuff, you don't know what he's saying. Roll in this and that, and you don't get why he's talking about Steelers hat. Like, he got a Steelers hat on, and DJ Quick saying something like, I can't be stopped. What's the name of my hood? Figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, if you get it,
if
it's
you
like,
from there, you familiar, you know exactly what he's saying. Yeah.
Like you hear Quick say, Tramp 5'7". You get what he's saying and who he's talking about. So it's like, it was where like, I learned a lot of stuff just for rap. And then when I started actually being out at parties and all that, and high school is when I started to really see what it was. I started to see, okay, I grew up in shotguns, so if I'm over here in neighborhoods, they don't like where I grew up at. Even though they all Crip. Over here in Inglewood, Bloods, it's a little bit of tension, but it's not as bad as the Crips here, and the Raymonds don't like us either. And it's like,
just politics.
And I'm not even from the hood, but it's like the fact that if you grew up there, somebody question where you stay at. Just like the Kendrick skits, like it's real life. Like where your grandma stay. Like, if your grandma stays in a certain hood, it's like, oh, so you must be from there. That means you know them. So
I used to be in LA every summer visiting family, and I've definitely had folks come up to me like, bro, I'm from Oakland. Like, I don't even do that. We say cuz and blood.
Exactly. Y'all do.
You'll be all right. Relax.
Y'all do.
You know what I mean?
It's nothing to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like back then, colors was heavy, so it's like like, I didn't think about it, but I never owned. I had like the Jordan 11s in like '96. After that, I didn't own a single pair of red shoes until like 2005, and that's because I was in Florida. It was like, and then even out there, I wear stuff in Florida that I couldn't wear in LA.
For sure. So, what's funny is, did you ever think that it would come a day where it don't even matter no more? Which is crazy to me.
It was weird. Like, the first time I saw it was probably like around 06, 07 maybe. I was on Crenshaw Slauson, and a dude was at the corner with just a Bulls jacket on. And I was just so confused because I'm there for 30 seconds. I'm just waiting. Within these 30 seconds, somebody's going to come and bang on him, shoot him or something, and nothing happened. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then the more and more I started realizing, all right, the colors don't really matter as much.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's about how you wear it. Like,
Yep.
of course, if you had a red bandana, red T-shirt,
That's a different
red
ball
chucks
game.
on it's different. But they see you in this shirt, they don't care. It's like
yeah.
they could tell like where you from just by how you wear it. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah,
like we conditioned to it, so
times have changed so much.
it's way
all
different.
the time.
Like,
But that's good though. It's positive though. Nah,
yeah, I mean, we need that because it was getting too out of hand. Like I would have days my mom was like, all right, can you go pick up a cake from Auntie Lily and then go pick up the roses from Helen? I'm like, Lillian live in families and Helen live in 40s. I'm like, what do I wear? I can't wear a white tee. That means I could be from anywhere.
Yeah.
I have on a blue hat. That means I'm from this side. It's like, let me just put on the most neutral thing I have, a polo or something, a gray polo. Like,
Right.
It was that severe. So
Nah, you're absolutely right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned your pops
Yeah.
was a drummer, a jazz drummer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What was his feedback as you played all these instruments, producing, and then he was like, you know what, I'm finna start DJ.
It's where like so the thing with him, so he's a musician. He actually like writes and has his own albums too. So
Dope.
he used to work with like he was cool with George Duke and Dougal Chancellor. So I grew up in studios with them all the time.
Oh wow.
As a kid. So it's like when I was first making beats and rapping, he just kind of saw it as a little hobby. Like okay, that's cute, I guess. And then he just didn't want me to cuss when I rap. So aside from that, he didn't really care. It was like he'll support me at talent shows. But I remember high school, I started getting serious about producing, and he was like, let me just hear what you got. And he heard it. He was like, okay, it's actually pretty good. Like he's a jazz head, so he doesn't even like R&B that much. So of course, hip hop don't appeal to him.
Right.
He didn't even like Motown. He was straight Miles Davis, Coltrane. So
like straight ahead jazz.
yeah, straight ahead jazz and all that,
yeah.
and fusion jazz fusion.
Yeah.
So he was on that tip. So he was just kind of like, okay, like if you rapping, if you producing. I wanted to major in music in college. He was like, nah, don't major in it. Just like major in computer science. You already do computers and have jobs in that, but just do it on the side. So I was producing on the side, but then they didn't let me take my equipment out there, which kind of threw me off. But I bought my DJ equipment, and then when he heard I was DJing, he was just kind of like, okay, that's cool to have a hobby, a side thing. So I know he didn't think it was gonna get to where it was at. I don't think he started taking it serious at that point until like other folks would tell him like, oh, he's actually good. He could actually have a good career off it. Because to him, especially with him being a musician, he just sees the DJ as the person playing music in between the band. So it's not like the same priority.
He don't see it as the headliner.
Yeah, exactly. So when he saw that I could actually live off it, even still today, he's like, make sure you save up money, make sure you got 401ks and stuff you put money in, because you ain't trying to be 65 years old still DJing every night. So it's like that's basically where he's at with it now. So
I can see that to an extent.
Yeah.
What was the time period like between when DJing parties in college to when you was like, all right, I'm quitting my job and gonna do this full time?
So basically, I graduated college 2008, and then it was 2014 when I quit. The only reason I really quit was really because they had me on a bad schedule where I was working I was only off Wednesday and Thursday. They had me working 12 to 9 p.m. Long story short, I had a regular schedule, but they kept making it worse and worse. I was the only person who wasn't married. I didn't have the excuse of having kids and a wife, so it was like, well, you can DJ after you get off work at 9. I'm like, but daytime, they ain't care. So it basically forced me out, and I had just won the flavor battle. So basically, that whole time period, 2013 and 14, I remember early 2013 when I was touring with BJ the Chicago Kid. We were at South by Southwest. I was like, I could maybe full-time DJ, but I still didn't really see it because I was, we grew up conditioned to just having a regular job, having benefits, having all that long-term. I just didn't like, even when I knew people who were DJs full-time, most of them were struggling. If they weren't DJ Khaled level, Jazzy Jeff level, it's like most full-time DJs in LA especially, they can afford their rent, and that's it. I already had a house. It's like, I ain't about to lose my house because I'm just trying to DJ. Like, I ain't mind working. Like, let me just DJ on the weekends, and that's it. But by the time my schedule got bad, and I realized on some of these weeks I'm making more from DJing than I'm making at work, it was like, let me just quit, have a degree, so if I have to go back in a year or something, I'll go back. The first time I quit, I had to go back after 9 months. It was like, I was barely making it. I think each and every month, my bank account was just getting lower and lower and lower. Then by March of that next year, I was looking like, all right, let me get something. I ain't trying to dig into my savings and 401k. But then a year and a half ago, something similar happened. It was kind of opposite. I was like, I don't want to quit yet, but I'm getting a whole lot of work DJing. And then they basically said we having not layoffs, but you have to leave for 3 months and then come back because whatever's going on.
Type situation.
Furlough, yeah. So I was like, everybody else was mad. I'm like, perfect. I get 3 months to do what I want to do. I already had 4 out of town trips that next month. Then they called me back in 3 months, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. They're kind of surprised by it, but at that point, it's like I'm making twice what I'm making at work.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's actually a passion versus me being in the office taking orders. So I'm still not anti-corporate. A lot of people who are independent are super anti-9 to 5. I'm not one of those. You got to quit your job and this and that. I'm like, you got to live, period. That's the first priority to me.
Yeah.
So that's my main thing. So
My
I don't
thing
care.
is always-
If I go back in 5 years, I ain't going to have pride about it. Like, I'm back at work. I'm mad. As long as I'm paying my bills, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
You got to have a number.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, whatever number worked for you, however you get it, it's how you get it.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
For sure.
That's
Nah,
most
I definitely
important,
feel
so.
that way for sure.
Yeah.
You've spun around the world. What's your favorite city to DJ in and why?
I would say probably Lagos. Like the energy in Lagos is just always high. Like whenever I'm out there, they have me do parties. Like the funny thing about doing parties in Nigeria, for me at least, is that they don't hire me to do Afrobeat, which makes sense because obviously they have Afrobeat DJs there.
Every day.
Yeah, they hired me to come and play nothing but hip hop, R&B from the 90s and 2000s. So they found me from doing those mixes and videos. So they found me, and of course, like, you know, we kind of conditioned to thinking anything in Nigeria is a scam. So when we first saw we first saw the email coming in about like it was a DM like, how do I book you? I'm like, yeah, email my manager. Then my manager hit me up like, so who was that? Or, you know what did they say to you? I'm like, they had said booking, and she's like, okay, they're in Nigeria. I'm like, are they real? Are they legit?
Right.
She was like, yeah, I looked them up. They actually have legit parties, and she was like, I told them this price, and if he pays us by this date and shows us the actual plane ticket, so we there. I'm like, all right. So we went out there, but yeah, out there is fun because they party till like 6, 7 a.m. and it was just straight. It's 90s, 2000s, but it's songs that we don't even play over here at all. It's songs that like
going deep.
Yeah, going deep. It's some songs I knew. Some songs like I didn't even know that came from our era, but were probably bigger in like London. A lot of stuff in Africa gets big from like the London sound. So
I can see that.
It's still American hip hop R&B, but it'll be songs like a lot of slightly, I wouldn't say house sounding songs, but the songs that kind of sound like the Ghetto Heaven, like the what else has that sound to it? Even like the Been Around the World, Lisa Stanfield, that kind of 90, 91, those type of drums, and a lot of that mid-90s kind of East Coast influence R&B, like the Horace Brown.
Yeah,
the,
like
Gina
like
Thompson,
New York
and New York
shit.
type of, The songs
yeah.
that LA wouldn't really play as much.
Yeah.
New York, you might hear that at a 40 and up bar, but you ain't really hear that at a regular 90s party.
Right.
Nah. A lot of those songs was going hard. So.
I can see like those that obscure.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to my homegirl the other day, and she's 31.
Yeah.
And had never heard of Intro. But knew the song. Like once I started playing songs, she was like, "Oh, that's I was like, "Oh, okay, gotcha." So stuff like that.
Those type
the
songs.
average person isn't really gonna know, but you know when you hear it.
You hear it, a lot of those type of songs. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of those type of artists, and even like like you said, those artists like the intros, like the who else is that era? Of course, H-Town was that same era, Cut Close, but it'll be the upbeat songs they had. Brownstone, yeah. The Zane album cuts, Crush, those type songs.
Got you. What do you prefer more, playing like being challenged with the deep cuts or being challenged of like really reading a crowd that only knows what's on the radio?
It's definitely way more fun playing deep cuts as long as the crowd is open to it and enjoys it. Because the thing about commercial regular radio crowds is that you can't really impress them because it's like if they come in to hear the same Meg, Cardi, City, Drake, Migos, it's like they want every DJ to play that same set. And when you play it, they might say he was good because he played it. Yeah, of course, you can still be better at it. And that's the thing with me. It's like, even when I'm playing these same songs, it's like it's about how you prepare it. Like, it might be 10 restaurants that have a steak and mashed potatoes. Your steak and mash can still be better than what's over here at this restaurant.
Right.
All about how you put it together. So you can still be impressive in that sense and how you put it together, but they're never going to be impressed at that level because they're already knowing what to expect. Versus a deep cut crowd is where you going deep, where they're like, I haven't heard that song in 20 years. Like, it brings back a whole different sense of nostalgia to you.
Right.
Like, it'll give you a flashback of being on the subway or being like at a certain house party in the mid 90s when you hear it. Right. So it's definitely way more fun doing that. It's harder finding those crowds because like whenever you're online and you see people complain about DJs playing the same music, that's because those people complaining aren't the club crowd. The club crowd is not music heads. Like, they might enjoy music as just, you could love music but not be a music head. So the people in the club, to me, are club heads. They want to hear anybody who comes to you asking for the hottest song. They're not a music head. They want to hear, you know, just like the hot stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
Do you feel like that's changing to an extent now that you have, like, I feel like we're going towards a shift where people that like to party but want to hear good music are going to the everyday peoples, the grooves, the rub, shit like that, as opposed to going to a club. Like when somebody comes to Atlanta and is like, yo, what's popping this weekend? I have no idea. Like I know the cool parties.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I don't, and I know which DJs are gonna come with it.
Yeah.
But as far as like whatever, the stand on couches and pop bottle, I have no idea.
I get that. It's like, it's basically, a division is happening, and I would say it's definitely due to social media, and I still give all the credit to Grits and Biscuits for being the first one to really break out as a nationwide party where it was hype in different cities just based off of the internet, and it was traveling. So to me, they led the pack for everything else you see from the Duce Paloozas, the Henny and Waffles, to the everyday peoples, and even like Kiss and Grind was around before.
But it wasn't traveling.
Yeah, it wasn't traveling the same way as Grits and Biscuits, but it still kind of has a similar thing. But even Kiss and Grind is the same way. It's like these type parties are made for the more music heads, and like you said, it's not an every week thing. And what you said, is, I deal with that every week. People hit me up. I'll be there November 15th. Or where should I go? I'm like, hit me up that week. Because it's like, there's no weekly spot that you should be at.
Right.
Like the Dime is basically dope every night, but it's so small. If you're not there early enough for the seat, it's going to be kind of a hassle. But it's like,
very true.
Yeah, it is like the club crowd versus the party scene. It is a division happening, and I'm seeing that the club scene is slowly dying. Like LA is definitely dying because 6-7 years ago, it was all about Greystone Sunday, Supper Club Tuesday, Roxbury Thursdays, and that's where everybody wanted to be at. But it's like, of course, those clubs are all closed now. Greystone is now Nightingale anyway. But it's like, even when you do go to the Hollywood clubs, it's just, you realize how boring it is. And it's like, it's not really made for people who enjoy music or for even meeting people. It's like, when I go to those clubs, it's funny because I know all the guys there, they all 30 and up. All the girls there are 21, 22. Right. Some probably 19 with a fake ID because it's like, they're not there to hear good music and all that. They're there to get shows, get pulled, this and that. So the club scene is definitely dividing. Now the party scene is taking back over. So it's a huge demand for that. So yeah.
You're definitely right. You more of an R&B dude or a hip hop dude?
I'm definitely more hip hop for sure. I grew up way more hip hop, but I have way more of an appreciation for R&B now. It's where it might sound weird, but it's like, I listen to hip hop way more. I enjoy hip hop more as a whole, but good R&B is way better than good hip hop to me because good R&B is a whole different level of complexity. Whether it's soul from the 70s, whether it's even 90s R&B.
Break that down though. You can't just gloss over that. How is good R&B more?
Because it's way more intricate. So it's like when you listen to like 70s R&B songs versus hip hop. Like hip hop is just the same. It's like you're enjoying that loop. You're enjoying those drums. It might be a couple change ups. It might be some bass line switches. But great R&B, it's like everything from the build up, the lead up to it, the chord changes the entire song, the bass line changes, the bridge coming in. Whether it's like a Yearning for Your Love, the Love's Holiday, Shaka Khan's Sweet Thing. Like even when you put it on for girls at the club, it's like they rap along the City Girls, real love, get on about it. But you put on the Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, the Keisha Cole Loves, the Sweet Thing, the way that they build up to it, the way that they anticipate that breakdown on Sweet Thing, on SWV Week. Like the way that the songs are composed is like hip hop can't give you that type of feeling to me. It's like hip hop can't really give you that emotional feeling where it's like girls really screaming and singing and in their feelings to it.
Yeah, so I think it can, but it's more rare than R&B because R&B is literally meant to evoke emotion.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it brings out a different emotion, and it's like even musically, like most hip hop is never gonna be as musical as R&B and soul is. Like even the most musical hip hop productions from a Dilla or DJ Quick are still not as musical as what you hear from some of the songs. Whether it's funk from like Knee Deep is getting sampled. What was it, 40-some years later because it's so intricate. It's so many changes. You can hear that one song sampled in 25 different ways. From just the drum breakdown, from the bass line itself. You can ratchetify it and put a mustard beat to it. You can make it De La Soul style. So to me, it's like, it's just so much more complex when you're looking at like I add funk in that too, funk, soul, R&B. Yeah. So that's how I see it.
It's here and there you'll have like Tribe production. There was a lot of switching up.
Yeah,
High road production. like or in the
A lot of
early
Dilla
to
stuff is
mid
switched
90s.
up.
It's switching up. Like Casual Fear
Yeah.
itself for sure is like
Yeah.
it's like 5 different beats on one song.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
rare.
It's rare,
super
yeah,
rare.
yeah. It's still like I think part of it's too because I grew up with a jazz family, so it's
Yeah.
like I just hear certain music different.
hear
So it's
different,
like
yeah.
even certain hip hop songs that have like a lot of DJ Quick will have Kenneth Krause playing chords. The average
Yeah.
hip hop head don't really care about it, but for me, that's way more better than hearing just trap drums to me, just because it
for
appeals
sure.
to me more. So it's like
Nah, I feel
even if
that.
it is a bias that I have because I grew up more musical
Yeah.
on gospel too, it's like I didn't really hear rap that much till I was 8. So my whole 7 to 8 years growing up was all hearing like
Yeah.
highly musical, intricate type of
Gotcha.
composition. So that type of
Gotcha.
stuff still kind of hits me in a different way.
Got you.
So yeah,
You know, historically, West Coast DJs are always like it's more of a mix. Like it's like blending, whatever. You're like one of the few West Coast DJs, especially younger West Coast DJs, who you do a lot of the quick mix stuff. How did that come about?
it's where I think my style did kind of come from a little bit of everything because I was in Florida for college, and then being from LA, you have that style of whether it's like LA does have a lot of scratchers, but it's like a lot of it is more blended in, and then New York is more of the drops, and it's like I kind of incorporate everything because like most of my favorite DJs like are from I would say Philly more than anywhere else. So like
Okay.
Jazzy Jeff and then Cash Money, and even hearing like Kid Capri, it's like some folks are kind of like hot and cold on Kid Capri, but he's still one of my favorites overall, of
Yeah.
course. And it's like I would hear him at parties like Kiss and Grind, just hear how he drops songs in and just see how the crowd responded because it's where when you blend the song in, it's going people hear it, okay, I'm vibing to it. But when you just drop it, like as long as it's the right song, if you drop it and they don't like it, it's gonna kill the whole momentum. But
Right.
when you drop the right song, it just hits them a lot harder. So it's just kind of like me taking that and just like making it as smooth as I can, basically.
Right.
So,
When you're not spinning on your off days, what DJs do you go out of your way to hear spin?
depends on who's in town, of course, but like even for LA, like a lot of my influences came from like DJ BAD, DJ Mark the Spot, a lot of older ones. Like I haven't heard Aladdin in the club because of course he was probably more in the club before my prime, but even the OGs like General Lee, and then if it's out of town DJs coming in, like whether it's Just Blaze, Kid Capri, who else have I heard like out in public? Even like Victor Duplay, who lives in LA, but I like just hearing different styles of DJs because they all have their own different, format that they do. So even DJ Active from Philly, that's my boy. So
Okay. Yeah,
shit, Wally Sparks, of course. Wally Sparks, like whenever I hear him,
Wally's
it's
a
like
beast.
whenever I DJ with him, I'm like, you gonna kill me at my own party. All right, it's all good. It's all good. So
Right.
I was like hearing that variety and hearing everybody's different style because it's like people are biased as far as who they like, but I can hear 20 different DJs and like them all for different things. So
Got you.
I like just taking little bits and pieces of everybody's style.
Right. You've
Yeah.
gotten to the point where you have a name and people in whatever city or whatever come out to hear you. What's stopping you from starting your own party?
It's just so that's something I've been talking about forever. It's weird. It's like starting the party is like the concept name just has to be there. And it's like I've been thinking about them. I've been writing stuff down, but just until one just comes that just makes enough sense. Because I think with me, it's like my style is kind of a combination of like I can do everything technically, but I can't just make a party where it's like come here we do everything. It's like it has to still have somewhat of a focus. So
Right.
whether it's a throwback focus, whether it's like it can't really be an LA focus to travel because I think LA focus is more for LA only. But
I don't
it's
know
like-
because
at this point, it might be a little bit different.
Grits and
but-
Biscuits, like I've always
Yeah.
every time they come to Atlanta, I'll be like, every weekend is Grits and Biscuits. Like, what is the purpose of having us here? But people go and
You
people
think
love
so?
it.
That's what I thought before I started comparing it. It's kind of how you said it though. It's like how you were saying the club is different. So
Yeah.
Grits and Biscuits, they format is more so 2000s down south.
Yeah.
So even with that, it makes it different because you ain't gonna hear those every single week at a big party.
Right.
You might hear them at L Bar. You might hear them even like at the at Flavor Tonight type
Right.
things. But it's like Grits' whole formula is more so it's everything. It's about the crowd that's coming to. It's like it's not just the music. It's like we bringing in a college educated crowd that wants to be ratchet, and they caught that at that perfect time because
Right.
my whole generation is just like everybody just has pride in being educated and ratchet at the same time. It's like I love Ida B. Wells and Cardi B. That's just everybody's motto. So it's like
Yeah.
they caught that wave. So to me, it's like I would say with like because even with LA, even in LA, you don't really hear a whole lot of LA club music because LA has never really been a club dominant type of sound. we had that ratchet sound like
Yeah.
when Mustard first came in, and we always have. It's always LA songs that are big in the club, but it's just never like. It's rare you go to a LA party and hear 2 hours straight LA, but in the South,
Right.
I've been to Memphis where the whole party was 70 BPM, nothing but down south.
Right. It's weird, no, because it's like Big Von is one of the homies, and he was telling me, he was like, bro, it's certain records that are big everywhere else, and I try to put that shit on at like a Caribbean city or whatever spot in Oakland.
Yeah.
And he'll have to get out of that shit immediately because they still on a higher BPM.
BPM is everything for California, and even I'm conditioned to it too. And it's like of course I enjoy some of the crunk and some of the trap here and there, but it's like I always say in LA you can't go an hour trap at all. Like even if it's all the biggest crunk and trap together, after a while they tired of just bouncing at 70 BPM. You gotta speed up to 95 BPM, and like LA's native tempo has always just been the elbows up 95 BPM.
Yeah.
Whether it's nothing but a G thing or whether it's Tooted and Booted, whether it's a brand new Big Bank is 102 BPM, it's like we just always gonna have that same tempo. So it's like, it's funny because even songs from Atlanta at that tempo work better in LA than they do in Atlanta.
That's very
So
true.
even like people told me that certain songs like a Get Rich to This don't really work in Atlanta all that much, which I don't know if it's true or not, but LA, that song goes hard still.
Yeah.
And like for Texas, the same way. Ice Cream Paint Job and I Look Good go super hard in LA.
Yeah, that shit was big. I think Ice Cream Paint Job was big in the Bay before it was big anywhere.
I've heard that. Yeah, I can see it because it feels like an LA type of tempo.
For sure, most definitely.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, they haven't like necessarily blown nationally yet, but it's a lot of cats in LA that are doing their thing, and I know that they're really heavy in the clubs like RJ and Joe Moses, AD, and all of that, man. So to speak a little bit about that scene, because I think it's dope that it's actually young cats doing their thing out there and getting noticed, and a lot of times it would just be like you hear the shit in the hood, but you would never hear it in the clubs. Now it's both. So speak a little, because I feel like that shit is gonna eventually permeate in other cities.
I think it should. I feel like, because the biggest wave we had came, of course, it started, to me, Jerkin doesn't get the credit it deserves from 09. That's the first time I really heard LA, like local random kids getting played anywhere else. So from there it turned into like the ratchet sound that YG kind of was ahead of 2010, 11. That's where Mustard came in and did all that. So like a lot of those rappers from that era is still popping. So even like Joe Moses had Go Chick back then, back 2010, and he still got songs popping. RJ, I first heard him 2013, and he's still out there doing his thing. Then we have a whole lot of new artists like the AMBJ. Got Uno. Uno was huge in LA. It's like I call it Mexi Ratchet. It's like a Mexican with a ratchet beat to it. We got like OT Genesis. The thing with OT Genesis, people don't even know he's from LA because most of his biggest songs sound like straight trap, like Coco and Push It and Cut It. Yeah, he's straight Long Beach. So like Bay is basically bigger than everything else in LA. It's been huge the last year, but it didn't really get to make it outside of LA. But Bay still goes super hard. Then
it'll probably switch because they just dropped I saw the video for the remix with 40.
40. I think G-Eazy. They all on the remix. So it might take off a little bit more. Then we have like a whole new younger generation, even younger than the whole Ty Dolla $ign and Joe Moses, because they basically veterans at this point. So we have a whole new generation like the One Take Clicks, the One Take Jay, One Take Quan. They got their own thing popping coming up. Of course, like Blueface is in that whole circle too. I think like I don't know how you pronounce it, AZ Chike or As Chike. We got like Airplane James. So it's a lot of new ones coming up.
I like Airplane's. He was working with Problem for a minute.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I think he is down with the Diamond Lane. So we have a whole new scene coming up. And to me, it's like the thing that's tricky about LA when it comes to like our club music is that whenever I try to play it somewhere else or I talk to people anywhere else, of course, there's always the bias where it's like, well, that's LA stuff. It ain't gonna work here. But whenever LA song gets pushed, it blows up. So like Big Bank took months, but it blew up everywhere. Then like Tatiana was straight LA, that blew up everywhere. But it's like, to me, it's always those songs that are just as good as those, but if they don't get pushed the same way, and that could be about the dollars, it could be about the artist that's behind it.
And politics.
It's politics. So
and
it's
politics.
like, to me, it's not that people don't like an LA sound, it's just that if they don't hear it enough, they're just not naturally gonna go to it. Because it's kind of opposite to us to an extent, but most of the main commercial artists are from the South and a little bit from the East Coast. So it's like, of course, Amigos and Cardi is gonna go wherever, but like low-key, nameless type songs certain crowds in LA and the West Coast will know it, but it's just never gonna hit that mainstream.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
Well, you got to come out and spin for a Cali picnic, man, in
I'm down
April,
for that.
bro.
Yeah, I'm with that for sure.
You'll have a ball.
Yeah,
I'm
I already
sure
know. I
we
already
done
know.
had everybody, YG perform.
I already got
RJ,
huge. I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah, we had like.
Yeah.
Like, it was raining and cold at the last one, and we still had 5,000
April, that sounds
people
about
out.
right. For real.
Yeah. Outside.
I need that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do a 30-minute set, whatever it is.
You got to
yeah.
come rock out, man. You
Yeah.
got to come rock out for sure, man.
I'm with that.
Please tell
All day.
people where they can find you, man, and what you got coming up next.
So basically, find me on Twitter, Instagram at DJ_R-Tistic. My website is DJR-Tistic.com. So coming up, I think I'm out of town like 4 or 5 times coming up. So catch me in Atlanta, of course, this weekend. But I'll be at FAMU Homecoming in October. I know I'm in New Orleans coming up. I got a day party in New York, Labor Day, Saturday coming up. So just stay tuned. A lot of stuff is in motion. I'll probably be back to Africa soon. Probably back out to the Middle East again soon, back in Jordan. So
Dope.
got those coming up. Whenever you're in LA, always holler at me. I always got something going on in LA. So
For sure.
that's what it is. So
Most definitely. Appreciate you,
Yeah,
man.
all
Appreciate
day.
you coming through.
appreciate you. Had to though. Had to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yo, we appreciate y'all listening. This is Day
All
One
day.
Radio. Please follow us on all your social media, DAY1RADIO. And we'll be back next week with another dope show.
Let's
Peace.
get it. Out.